Dr. Susan Walsh walked through the underground tunnel that stretched for miles beneath the Nevada desert. The walls were made of smooth metal and glowed with soft blue light. Her footsteps echoed in the empty corridor as she made her way to the control room. The tunnel was part of Facility Phoenix, a base that officially did not exist. No government records mentioned it. No satellite could detect it. For 60 years, it had been humanity's most important secret. Susan reached a heavy door marked with warning signs. She placed her hand on a scanner and spoke her name. The door slid open with a quiet hiss. Inside, dozens of people worked at computer stations. Large screens covered the walls, showing images from around the world. "Status report," Susan said as she entered. Dr. Carl Rogers looked up from his station. He had been monitoring alien communications since their ships arrived. "The Council fleet is holding position. They think they're being careful, but their scanning patterns are easy to predict. Are they detecting our real technology?" Carl shook his head. "They're seeing exactly what we want them to see. The surface installations are broadcasting fake energy signatures. As far as they know, our most advanced weapons are nuclear missiles." Susan walked to the main screen. It showed a map of Earth with red dots marking the positions of alien ships. Blue dots showed the locations of hidden human facilities. There were hundreds of blue dots scattered across the planet and beyond. "How long have we been preparing for this?" asked Lieutenant Amy Foster, a young officer who had recently been brought into the program. 312 years, Susan answered. "We detected their first scout probe in 1712. It was small and tried to stay hidden, but our scientists found it." Amy's eyes widened. "That's impossible. We didn't have the technology to detect alien probes in 1712. Susan smiled. "That's what everyone believes. The truth is more complicated." She pressed a button, and the main screen changed. It now showed a timeline stretching back centuries. Images of old documents and photographs appeared. In 1712, a strange object crashed. "In the forests of Russia," Susan explained. "Local hunters found metal that couldn't be melted and circuits that shouldn't have existed. The Russian king ordered his best scientists to study it." "They reverse-engineered alien technology in the 1700s?" Amy asked. "Not exactly. They studied it and learned that we were being watched. Word spread to other kingdoms. European scientists began working together in secret. They realized that humanity needed to prepare for the day when the Watchers would reveal themselves. The screen showed drawings of early detection devices. They looked primitive compared to modern technology, but they worked. Hidden observers began tracking alien activity throughout the solar system. By 1850, we knew they had a base on the far side of the moon," Susan continued. "By 1900, we had detected their main fleet at the edge of the solar system. They were watching and waiting, studying how we developed." Carl spoke up from his station. "That's when the Great Deception began. World leaders decided that if aliens were studying us, we should control what they learned." The timeline showed the 20th century. 2 world wars, the space race, the development of nuclear weapons. To outside observers, it looked like normal human history. But the reality was different. "Every major technological advance was planned," Susan said. "We developed real space travel in the 1920s, but showed the aliens fake rocket programs. We built quantum computers in the 1940s, but let them think we were still using mechanical calculators." "The space program in the 1960s was just for show?" Amy asked. "The public space program, yes. NASA was real, but it was designed to make aliens think we were struggling to reach our own moon. Meanwhile, our real ships were already exploring other star systems." The screen changed again, showing photographs of massive underground facilities. Some were built into mountains, others carved from solid rock deep underground. All of them were invisible to alien sensors. "We've been building these for 2 centuries, Susan explained. "Every major nation has them. They're connected by transport tunnels that can move people and supplies anywhere on Earth in hours." Dr. Rogers stood up and walked to another screen. The aliens think they've been watching our natural development. They have no idea that everything they've seen was carefully planned. What about other alien species? Amy asked. The message mentioned a galactic council. Susan nodded. We know about them too. 12 species that formed a government to control the galaxy. They've conquered 47 worlds using the same tactics they're trying on us. How do you know that? Because we've been in contact with some of those worlds for 50 years, Carl said. The aliens think they rule them, but many of those species have been working with us. The main screen showed a star map. Lines connected Earth to dozens of other star systems. Amy stared at the display in amazement. We have allies. More than allies, Susan said. When the Council conquered those worlds, they thought they were expanding their empire. What they were really doing was helping us build a resistance network. The Council ships that attacked other planets were often challenged by mysterious technical problems, Carl explained. Equipment failures, power, losses, navigation errors. They thought it was bad luck. It was sabotage? Better than sabotage. It was us learning how their technology worked so we could build countermeasures. Susan walked back to the center of the room. Around her, technicians continued monitoring alien communications and tracking the positions of ships throughout the solar system. The Council expects us to surrender like everyone else, she said. They've never encountered a species that could effectively hide their true capabilities. Their arrogance is their weakness. Amy looked at the displays showing alien ships orbiting Earth. How powerful are we really? Carl smiled. Put it this way. If those 12 ships tried to attack Earth right now, they would find themselves facing a human fleet of over 3,000 vessels. Ships that they can't detect and technology they can't understand. Where are our ships? Everywhere, Susan answered. Hidden behind the moon, cloaked in the asteroid belt, waiting in hyperspace, around every major planet. The aliens walked into a trap they don't even know exists. The communication system crackled to life. A voice spoke from speakers around the room. This is President Parker. Operation Looking Glass is now active. All facilities report readiness. Status. Susan walked to a microphone. Facility Phoenix ready, Madam President. All systems operational. Similar reports came from around the world. Facilities in Antarctica, under the Pacific Ocean, buried in the Amazon rainforest, hidden in mountain ranges on every continent. Humanity's true defense network was waking up. They gave us 72 hours, Susan said to her team. Let's use that time to position ourselves perfectly. When we reveal the truth, I want it to be a complete surprise. Amy watched the displays showing alien ships. They looked powerful and threatening, but now she understood they were really just victims waiting to be caught in humanity's carefully planned trap. The greatest deception in galactic history was about to be revealed. The Great Hall buzzed with angry voices. 47 different alien species sat in their special seats, all talking at once. The room was huge, with walls that reached so high they seemed to touch the stars. In the center, a blue light showed, pictures that made everyone gasp. Jake Morrison sat in the human section. His gray hair was neat, and his blue uniform had no wrinkles. He did not speak. He did not move. He just watched as the other aliens pointed at the pictures and shouted. The pictures showed destroyed ships, big ships, Krillian ships that used to be the strongest in the galaxy. Now they were broken metal floating in space. Some ships were cut in half. Others had holes so big you could fly smaller ships through them. Council Prime Zethkara stood up. She was tall and made of something that looked like living glass. When she spoke, machines changed her words so everyone could understand. The humans did this, she said. Her voice filled the room. They broke our most important law. They made weapons that kill too much too fast. The Sentient Protection Accords say no one can make such things. The room got louder. Aliens with fur, scales, and skin colors Jake had never seen before all started talking. Some had too many arms. Others had eyes that glowed. All of them looked scared or angry. 6 minutes, said another alien. This one looked like a giant snake with arms. 6 minutes to destroy the entire Krillian war fleet. This cannot be allowed. Lisa Carter sat next to Jake. She was younger, with brown hair pulled back tight. She had been working with aliens for 10 years, but she had never seen them this upset. "May I speak?" Lisa asked. Her voice was calm, but Jake could hear her heart beating fast. Zethkara made a sound like breaking glass. It meant yes. Lisa stood. "Up, the Krillians attacked first. They came to our mining world on Kepler 442b. They had big guns and fast ships. They killed 17,000 people before we could do anything." 17,000 humans, said the snake alien. "But you killed 200,000 Krillians. You see the problem." "We see the problem clearly," Jake said. His voice was quiet, but everyone heard him. The room went silent. Jake Morrison had been Earth's voice in the galaxy for 20 years. When he spoke, people listened. Jake stood up slowly. He was not tall compared to most aliens, but something about him made others step back. "We ask for 48 hours to prepare our answer." Zethkara's glass body flickered. In her people, this meant surprise. "You do not deny the charges?" "We ask for 48 hours, Jake said again. The Council Prime looked around the room. Other aliens were whispering to each other. Some were making sounds Jake had learned meant fear. Others were making the sounds that meant anger. "Very well," Zethkara said. 48 hours, then you will answer for these weapons." Jake nodded once. Then he turned and walked toward the door. Lisa and the other humans followed him. They moved like soldiers, all in step, all quiet. As they left, Jake heard the aliens start talking again. But now they were talking about humans differently. Before today, they had called humans helpful, peaceful, good at solving problems without fighting. Now Jake heard new words: dangerous, scary, too strong. The human group walked down a long hallway. Their footsteps echoed off the walls. No one spoke until they reached their ship. "Jake," Lisa said when the door closed behind them. "What are we going to do?" Jake sat down at his desk. On the wall, a picture showed Earth as it looked from space, blue and white and beautiful. It looked peaceful. It looked safe. "We are going to tell them the truth," Jake said. "What truth?" Jake pressed a button, and another face appeared on a screen. It was President Amy Rodriguez. She was sitting in her office on Earth, but Jake could see she was not alone. Other people stood behind her, people Lisa did not recognize. "How bad is it?" Amy asked. "They want us to give up all our ships," Jake said. "They want to watch everything we make. They want to treat us like children who cannot be trusted." Amy was quiet for a moment. Behind her, one of the men stepped forward. He was older with gray hair and a uniform Lisa had never seen before. The uniform had marks on it that meant he was important, but they were not marks she knew. "Do they know?" the man asked. "Know what?" Lisa said. Jake looked at her for a long time. "Lisa, what do you know about Earth history?" "I know we had wars before we went to space," she said. "Everyone knows that. All species had conflicts." The man behind Amy laughed, but it was not a happy sound. "Conflicts," he said. "Yes, we had. Conflicts." Amy leaned forward. "Lisa, how many humans died in World War II?" Lisa thought. "I learned about that in school. Maybe 1 million?" The room went very quiet. 75 million, Amy said softly. 75 million humans died in one war, and that was not even our biggest war. Lisa felt cold. "That cannot be right." "Show them," Amy said to Jake. "Show them everything. Show them what we really are." Jake nodded. "I will need the full archives." "You will have them," the man in the strange uniform said. "All of them. Even the ones we swore never to open again." The screen went dark. Jake sat back in his chair and looked at Lisa. "We have 48 hours to teach the galaxy something they do not want to learn," he said. "What?" "That there is a difference between a species that learn to cooperate and a species that learn to survive." Outside their ship, the galaxy continued to turn. Aliens went about their normal days, trading goods and sharing knowledge and solving problems with words instead of weapons. They did not know that everything was about to change. They did not know that the most dangerous species in the galaxy had been hiding among them for 200 years. And they did not know that in 48 hours, they would learn why Earth was called a death world and why humans were the only species that had ever escaped from one. Jake Morrison had not slept in 36 hours. He sat at his desk, surrounded by screens showing information that made his stomach hurt. Around him, his team worked without stopping. They drank coffee and ate quick meals while they typed and read and sorted through files. "This is impossible," Dr. Helen Park said. She was the team's expert on alien history and culture. Her desk was covered with papers and empty cups. "How do I explain nuclear weapons to beings who never invented gunpowder?" Lisa Carter looked up from her own screen. For the past day, she had been reading about human history. Real human history. Not the clean, simple version they taught in schools. "Jake," she said, her voice shaking, "this says that during something called the 100 Years' War, England and France fought for over a century. Just two small countries on one planet." "Keep reading," Jake said without looking up. Lisa scrolled down. "The 30 Years' War killed 8 million people. The Mongol invasions killed 40 million. Jake, these numbers cannot be real." Dr. Park stopped typing. "They are real. I have been checking them against the archives. Lisa, humans have been fighting wars for 50,000 years. Non-stop, no break, no peace that lasted more than a few decades. But we are peaceful now," Lisa said. "We have been part of the galactic community for 200 years without starting a single fight." Jake finally looked at her. "We have been peaceful because we chose to be. Because we decided that fighting other humans was pointless when there was a whole galaxy to explore. But Lisa, we never forgot how to fight." Admiral Nick Sullivan appeared on the main screen. He was calling from Earth, from a building Lisa had never seen before. The walls behind him were covered with pictures of human soldiers from different time periods. "How is the research going?" Nick asked. "Slowly," Jake said. "We are trying to explain concepts that other species never developed. They do not have words for things like total war or genocide or weapons of mass destruction." Nick nodded. "I have been talking to the historians at the War College. They are sending you the complete files. Everything, even the classified sections." "War College?" Lisa asked. "We still train soldiers, Lisa," Nick said. "We still study how to fight. We still make weapons. We just do not talk about it in polite company." New files began appearing on their screens. Lisa opened one and immediately closed it. The pictures were too horrible to look at. "I cannot show this to the council," she said. "They will think we are monsters." "Maybe we are," Dr. Park said quietly. "Maybe that is the point." Jake opened a file labeled Battle of Gettysburg. It showed a map with numbers. 650,000 human soldiers fought here, he read. 51,000 casualties in 3 days. This was just one battle in one war in one country. "Keep going," Nick said from the screen. Jake opened another file. The Siege of Stalingrad, 2 million military casualties, 800,000 civilian deaths. He paused. This was considered normal. Lisa was reading about something called the Black Death. This says a disease killed 1/3 of all humans in Europe, and then they kept fighting wars anyway. Because that is what humans do, Dr. Park said. We survive. No matter what kills us, we survive and we get stronger. Jake pulled up a galactic map. It showed all the different alien species and their home worlds. "Look at this," he said. Other species in the galaxy evolved on planets where cooperation was the key to survival. They learned to work together because they had to. And us? Lisa asked. We evolved on a planet where everything tried to kill us. Big animals with teeth and claws, small animals with poison, diseases, natural disasters, ice ages, asteroid impacts. And when we finally beat all of that, we started trying to kill each other. Dr. Park had found files about human weapons development, chemical weapons in World War I, nuclear bombs in World War II, biological weapons during the Cold War. We made weapons that could kill all life on our planet, and then we made more weapons to stop other people from using their weapons. Why? Lisa asked. Because we could, Jake said. Because humans have never met a problem we could not solve by making something more dangerous than the thing trying to kill us. Admiral Sullivan leaned forward on the screen. Lisa, do you know what deterrence is? Lisa shook her head. It means making yourself so dangerous that no one dares to attack you. For 40 years, Earth had enough nuclear weapons to destroy our planet 10 times over. We pointed them at each other and said, if you attack me, I will end the world. And it worked. That is insane, Lisa said. That is human, Jake replied. Dr. Park had opened a file about modern human military capabilities. Jake, look at this. This is what we have now, what we brought to space. The file showed weapons that Lisa could not even understand. Things called antimatter bombs and kinetic kill vehicles and something labeled planet crackers. The railguns that destroyed the Krillian fleet, Dr. Park read, represent approximately 1970s level human military technology. Current human weapons are classified at threat level impossible to translate to galactic standard. Lisa felt sick. We have been lying to them. For 200 years, we have been pretending to be something we are not. We have been showing them our best side, Jake said. The side that builds hospitals and schools and art museums. The side that explores and learns and creates. But we never stopped being the side that survived Earth. Nick cleared his throat. Jake, you need to understand something. The decision has been made. If the Council tries to force us to disarm, we will not comply. What does that mean? It means we will withdraw from galactic civilization. Completely. We will take our people, our ships, our technology, and we will go home. Lisa looked around the room. They will never let us go peacefully. Nick smiled, but it was not a nice smile. Let us? Lisa, they cannot stop us. They have no idea what we are capable of. They think the railguns were our best weapons. They think the defense grid around Kepler 442b was our strongest fortification. What do we really have? Dr. Park asked. Enough, Nick said. More than enough. Jake began organizing all the information they had gathered. Human history, human weapons, human strategies, human survival instincts that had been honed by 50,000 years of constant warfare. How do we present this? Lisa asked. Simply, Jake said. We tell them the truth. We show them what we are. And then we let them decide what kind of relationship they want with us. Dr. Park was reading about something called the Geneva Conventions. Jake, this is interesting. Humans made rules for war, rules about how to fight without being too cruel. Because we learned that war without rules leads to extinction, Jake said. We came very close to destroying ourselves several times. We had to learn control. But we still remember how to take the controls off, Nick added from the screen. Lisa was quiet for a long time. Then she asked, what happens if they vote to expel us? Jake looked at the map of human space. It was smaller than most alien empires, but it was compact and well defended. And it was home. Then we leave, he said. And they learn what the galaxy looks like without humans watching over it. We watch over it. Lisa, who do you think stops the pirates in the outer systems? Who protects the trade routes? Who keeps the peace between species that do not like each other? Lisa realized she had never thought about it. She had assumed the galaxy was naturally peaceful. "We do," Jake continued. "We have been the galaxy's unofficial police force for 2 centuries. Not because anyone asked us to, but because we could. Not stand watching weak species get bullied by strong ones." Dr. Park laughed, but it sounded sad. "Because we know what it feels like to be the weak ones, before we learn to fight back." The files were complete. Thousands of years of human history, compressed into a presentation that would take 3 hours to show. Everything from the first wars fought with sticks and stones to the modern weapons that could crack planets. "Are you ready?" Nick asked. Jake looked at his team. They looked tired and scared and sick, but they nodded. "We are ready," Jake said. Tomorrow, the galaxy would learn what humans really were, and then everything would change. The council chamber was completely silent when Jake Morrison walked to the center. Every alien in the room was watching him. Some were holding their breath. Others were making the small sounds their species made when they were nervous. Jake carried a small device in his hand. He placed it on the podium and pressed a button. The lights in the room dimmed, and a hologram appeared above everyone's heads. "Council members," Jake said. His voice was steady and calm. "You have asked us to explain our weapons. To do this, we must first explain ourselves." The hologram showed a planet. It was blue and green and white, spinning slowly in space. It looked beautiful and peaceful. "This is Earth," Jake said. "Our home world. What you are seeing is how it looks from space. But space does not tell the whole story." The image changed. Now it showed the surface of Earth. There were vast green forests and blue oceans. There were also things the aliens had never seen before. "Earth is what galactic science calls a death world," Jake continued. "The gravity is 3 times stronger than the average inhabited planet. The atmosphere contains gases that would kill most of you in minutes. The weather includes storms that can destroy cities." Murmurs started around the room. Some aliens had never heard the term death world before. The hologram changed again. Now it showed animals, big animals with teeth longer than an alien's arm, animals with claws that could cut through metal, animals covered in poison spines. "These are some of the creatures that shared our world," Jake said. "The large one with the teeth is called a saber-toothed tiger. It hunted our ancestors for hundreds of thousands of years. The one with the long neck is called a dinosaur. They ruled Earth for 165 million years before an asteroid killed them all." Council Prime Zethkara's glass body began to flicker. "How did your species survive such creatures?" "We learned to kill them," Jake said simply. The hologram showed human ancestors. They were smaller and weaker than the animals around them. But they were holding tools, sharp tools, tools made for cutting and stabbing and killing. "We were not the strongest species on our planet," Jake continued. "We were not the fastest or the most dangerous, but we were the smartest, and we used that intelligence to become the most deadly." The image changed to show humans hunting. They were working together, using spears and fire and traps to kill animals much larger than themselves. By the time we developed agriculture, we had driven most of the large predators extinct. Earth became safer because we made it safer. We killed everything that threatened us. The aliens were very quiet now. Some were leaning forward in their seats. Others were leaning back, as if they wanted to get farther away from Jake. "But then," Jake said, "we ran out of other species to fight, so we started fighting each other." The hologram showed human armies. Thousands of humans with weapons, marching toward other humans with weapons. "This is the Battle of Cannae," Jake said. "It happened over 2,000 years ago. 50,000 Roman soldiers fought 50,000 Carthaginian soldiers. In one day, 45,000 Romans died." Gasps echoed through the chamber. The number was impossible to believe. "This was considered a normal battle," Jake added. The hologram changed to show different wars, bigger wars. Wars with more soldiers and more deaths. The Mongol invasions, 40 million dead over 50 years. The Black Death Plague, 100 million dead in 4 years. The 30 Years' War, 8 million dead. The Napoleonic Wars, 6 million dead. With each number, the aliens in the chamber made sounds of horror. These numbers were larger than the total populations of some species. World War I, Jake continued. 16 million dead in 4 years. World War II, 75 million. Dead in 6 years. The hologram showed pictures from these wars, cities destroyed, millions of soldiers fighting in mud and rain and snow, weapons that could kill hundreds of people at once. Wait, said the snake-like alien, Commander Vex Thule. These numbers cannot be correct. You are saying that humans killed 75 million of your own species in 6 years? Yes, Jake said. That is impossible. No species would do such a thing. We did worse, Jake replied. The hologram changed to show a mushroom-shaped cloud rising into the sky. This is a nuclear weapon, Jake said. We invented it during World War II. One bomb can destroy an entire city. We dropped 2 of them on our own planet, killing over 200,000 people in seconds. The chamber erupted in shocked sounds. Several aliens stood up from their seats. Others were making the motions their species used for prayer or protection. But that was not the worst part, Jake continued. The worst part came after the war ended. The hologram showed maps of Earth, divided into different colors. This period was called the Cold War. For 40 years, 2 groups of humans pointed nuclear weapons at each other. We built enough bombs to destroy all life on our planet 10 times over. We kept them ready to fire at all times. But you did not use them, Zeth Kara said. Her voice was very quiet. No, we did not. Do you know why? Because you came to your senses? Because we were afraid of each other, Jake said. We knew that if one side fired their weapons, the other side would fire back. Everyone would die. So we created a balance of terror. We stayed peaceful because we were too dangerous to fight. The hologram showed something new. Spaceships. Human spaceships leaving Earth and spreading to other worlds. Eventually, we decided that fighting each other was pointless. There was a whole galaxy to explore, so we turned our energy toward the stars. And you stopped making weapons? Asked another alien. Jake smiled, but it was not a happy smile. We never stopped making weapons. We just stopped using them on each other. Admiral Susan Blake stepped forward. She had been quiet during the presentation, but now she spoke. The railguns that destroyed the Krillian fleet represent 1970s human technology, she said. We have not used kinetic weapons seriously for over 200 years because we consider them primitive. What do you use now? Vex Thule asked. Susan looked at Jake. Jake nodded. Antimatter warheads, quantum disruption fields, gravity bombs, stellar manipulation devices. She paused. Planet killers. The silence in the chamber was complete. No one moved. No one made a sound. You have weapons that can destroy planets? Zeth Kara asked. We have weapons that can destroy solar systems, Susan replied. But we do not use them. We keep them locked away and hope we never need them. Jake stepped forward again. You asked us to explain our weapons. Now you understand. We are not a peaceful species that learn to fight. We are a fighting species that learn to be peaceful. What do you want from us? Zeth Kara asked. Jake looked around the chamber at all the different aliens. They looked scared. They looked confused. Some looked angry. We want what we have always wanted, he said. To be your allies. To explore the galaxy together. To share knowledge and culture and friendship. And if we refuse? Jake was quiet for a long moment. Then you will learn the difference between humans as friends and humans as strangers. Is that a threat? It is a fact, Jake said. For 200 years we have protected this galaxy. We have stopped wars before they started. We have kept the trade routes safe. We have shared our technology and our culture and our protection. And if we expel you, then we will leave, Jake said simply. And you will discover what the galaxy looks like without us. The presentation was over. Jake picked up his device and walked back to his seat. The aliens in the chamber began to whisper to each other. Some were arguing, others looked like they wanted to run away. Council Prime Zethkara stood up. "The council will vote in 1 hour," she announced. As the humans filed out of the chamber, Lisa Carter walked beside Jake. "Do you think they will vote to keep us?" she asked. Jake looked back at the aliens, who were now arguing loudly with each other. "No," he said. "They are too afraid. They will vote us out." What happens then? Jake thought about Earth, and about all the human colonies scattered across the galaxy. He thought about the weapons they had built but never used, and the defenses they had prepared but never needed. "Then we go home," he said, "and we let the galaxy learn to take care of itself." 6 months had passed since the humans left. The Galactic Council chamber felt different now, smaller somehow, even though it was the same size. The human section sat empty, gathering dust. Council Prime Zethkara stood before the emergency assembly. Her glass body flickered constantly now, a sign of severe stress that had not improved since the day they voted humanity out. Around her, the remaining 47 species looked tired and afraid. "The situation continues to worsen," she announced. "The Ravager fleets have destroyed 12 outer colonies. The pirate attacks in the rim sectors have increased by 300%. Trade routes that were safe for centuries are now too dangerous to use." Delegate Morden of the Traders Guild stood up. His small gray form seemed even smaller than before. "Council Prime, my people have lost 43 cargo ships in the past month alone. We cannot continue operating under these conditions." "What about your security escorts?" asked Commander Vexthul. "What escorts?" Morden replied. "The Krillian fleet is gone. The Nexari military is stretched too thin. The other species either cannot or will not help." Vexthul made an angry hissing sound. "We told you this would happen. The humans were the only thing keeping the monsters at bay." "We did not know," the Nexari delegate said weakly. "We chose not to know," the ethereal representative corrected. "The humans offered to explain their role in galactic security many times. We always said we did not need to hear about military matters." Zethkara activated the chamber's central display. It showed a map of the galaxy with red zones marking areas that were no longer safe. "The red areas represent systems where civilian traffic has been attacked in the past 30 days, she said. "As you can see, nearly 30% of our trade routes are now classified as high risk." Gasps echoed through the chamber. The red zones covered vast sections of the galaxy that had been peaceful for hundreds of years. "It gets worse," Zethkara continued. "The communication relay network is failing. Without human technicians to maintain the quantum entanglement stations, we are losing contact with outer systems." "Can we not learn to maintain them ourselves?" asked a delegate from the Aquatic Collective. "The humans took all the technical manuals with them," Zethkara replied. "What they left behind is encrypted with codes we cannot break." Dr. Elena Vasquez had been right, thought the ethereal representative. 6 months ago, the human scientist had warned them that the communication network required constant maintenance by people who understood quantum mechanics in ways that other species had never mastered. "What about medical research?" asked another delegate. Zethkara's flickering increased. "Medical advancement has stopped completely. Human researchers were leading 94% of all collaborative medical projects. Without them, we have no way to continue the work." "Surely we can manage without human medicine," the Nexari delegate said. "The Rigelian plague outbreak 3 weeks ago," Zethkara replied. "Normally, we would have contacted human disease specialists. Instead, we lost an entire colony world before our own doctors could develop a treatment." The chamber fell silent. The Rigelian colony had been home to 12 million beings. "There is more," Zethkara said. "Border disputes between the Centauri, Alliance and the Vegan Republic have escalated to armed conflict. The Spiral Arm Federation is threatening to secede from the Council entirely. The core worlds are demanding military protection we cannot provide. What do the humans say? Mordun asked quietly. Nothing, Zethkara replied. All attempts at communication are met with automated responses directing us to diplomatic channels that no longer exist. Commander Vexthul slithered forward. I sent a personal message to Admiral Susan Blake. We served together on the Piracy Suppression Task Force for 10 years. I thought she might respond. And? The message was returned undelivered. The human communication networks have been reconfigured to block all non-human transmissions. The ethereal representative felt a chill. They have cut us off completely. Yes, Zethkara said. Humanity has withdrawn behind their borders and sealed themselves away from the rest of the galaxy. What the Council did not know was that human space was busier than it had ever been. Admiral Susan Blake stood on the bridge of the UES Defender, watching construction reports from across human territory. Status report, she said to her aide, Captain John Martinez. The Sol defense grid is complete, Martinez replied. 100 orbital platforms, each equipped with quantum disruptors and gravitational field generators. Nothing gets through without our permission. And the outer colonies? All major human worlds now have full defensive networks. We have also completed construction of the new trade routes that connect our colonies without passing through alien space. Susan nodded. What about the new ships? The first squadron of Predator-class destroyers completed trials last week. They are faster than anything in the galaxy and armed with weapons that make the railguns look like toys. In the council chamber, the debate continued. Some delegates wanted to try sending envoys to human space. Others thought they should attempt to rebuild galactic civilization without human help. We managed fine before the humans arrived, the Nexari delegate said. We can manage again. That was 800 years ago, Mordun replied. The galaxy was simpler then. Fewer species, smaller territories, less trade, and fewer enemies, added the ethereal. As if summoned by her words, emergency alarms began sounding throughout the chamber. Zethkara received an urgent message, and her glass form dimmed to almost nothing. What is it? Vexthul asked. The Ravager fleets have broken through the outer rim defenses, Zethkara said. They are moving toward the core systems. Estimated arrival time, 2 weeks. Panic erupted in the chamber. Delegates were shouting, arguing, demanding action. How many ships? Someone called out. 8,000 confirmed, possibly more. Our combined fleets can barely muster 3,000 ships, Mordun said. And most of those are cargo vessels with light weapons. What about the humans? The aquatic delegate asked. Surely they will help if the core systems are threatened. Zethkara was quiet for a moment. 3 days ago, a Ravager scouting force entered the edge of human space. They were destroyed in 17 seconds by automated defense systems. The human government then broadcast a single message to the Ravagers. What did it say? Human space is off limits. Violators will be eliminated. This is your only warning. And the Ravagers' response? They changed course to avoid human territory entirely. The chamber fell silent again. The Ravagers were the most aggressive species anyone had ever encountered. They had never backed down from a fight, never avoided a target, but they had taken one look at human defenses and decided to find easier prey. How strong are the humans? Now? Vexthul asked quietly. Zethkara activated another display. This one showed energy readings from human space, detected by long-range sensors. Based on these readings, humanity has quadrupled their military production since leaving the Council. They have also developed weapons that register beyond our ability to classify. Beyond classification, our threat assessment scales only go up to planet killer, Zethkara explained. Human weapons now register as impossible to calculate. President Amy Rodriguez stood in the Oval Office on Earth, watching reports from across the galaxy. The news was not good for the aliens who had expelled humanity. The Ravagers will reach the core systems in 10 days, reported Secretary of Defense Robert Chen. Galactic Council forces are completely outmatched. Any word from the Council? Amy asked. They have sent 14 different envoys to our borders. All were turned away by automated systems. They have also tried broadcasting messages on emergency frequencies. And our response? We send them the same message every time. Diplomatic relations were terminated by Council vote. Please direct all inquiries to non-existent channels. Amy looked out the window at the blue sky of Earth. Somewhere out there, millions of aliens were about to die because they had been too afraid to trust their oldest allies. Madam President, Robert said carefully, some of our people are asking if we should help. The death toll is going to be enormous. Amy was quiet for a long time. Robert, 6 months ago the galaxy told us we were too dangerous to exist among civilized beings. They voted to expel us by an overwhelming margin. They celebrated in the streets when we left. Yes, ma'am. Now they want us to save them from the consequences of their decision. Yes, ma'am. Amy turned back to the reports. Send a message to all human fleet commanders. Human vessels are to avoid the conflict zone entirely. We will not interfere in galactic affairs. And if they specifically ask for help, then we remind them that they made their choice. 3 days later, the first reports reached the Council chamber. The Ravager advance force had smashed through the hastily assembled Galactic Defense Fleet. The casualties were horrible. 200 ships lost, Zethkara announced. Estimated crew deaths, 400,000. We need help, Mordun said, desperately. We need the humans. They will not respond, Vexthul replied. I have tried everything. Personal appeals, official diplomatic requests, even emergency broadcast on the old military frequencies. Nothing. They are just going to let us die, the Nexari delegate said. We asked them to leave, the ethereal reminded him. This is what leaving looks like. The main Ravager fleet arrived 2 days.